I am fully convinced that everyone just woke up today and chose violence. This has been the longest Monday of my entire life. You want to know the one good thing about today? Truly the only thing that has brought me a spark of joy today, besides the cats, obviously. Not them, they're always excused from any criticism. This single can of Coke Zero has single-handedly been the thing that's getting me through the day. We're starting the year off rough with these wrap-ups because my December wrap-up I filmed and I was just like, I'm just over these books, let's move on. And I'm just like, I'm not in like a bubbly mood today. But we have 14 books to wrap up in January because I want to get this video up tomorrow. So we got to do it. We got to get it done tonight. So 14 books I read in January. I feel good about all of them. I read so many incredible books this month. I didn't have a single book under 3 stars, and I had multiple 5 stars. So then when it came time in like my reading journal to like pick my favorite of the month, it was tricky. It was really tricky. And already I feel like I have 3 books that belong on my top of 2022 list. And it's January. I had a great reading month. I'm excited to share. Let's jump in. I started the year out strong. For my very first book that I read this year, I did a buddy read with my friend Amanda over on Instagram. I'll link her Instagram down below, so that way if you're on Bookstagram and looking for more accounts to follow, make sure you follow her. But we did a buddy read for Ecstasy by KV Rose. Super toxic, dark-ish, college romance. It was a good one. It was a good one to kick off the year with. So this one follows 3 main characters, Zara, Eli, and Alex. And Zara is an addict. She's in college and she did go to rehab. I don't remember how like fresh out of rehab she is, but she's not sober. She is using drugs. She's drinking. You know, she just like doesn't really have an interest in being sober. And she is dating Alex, who's like this star quarterback, kind of like rich guy. Like he has this kind of like all-American image, but he's like kind of a piece of garbage. Honestly, all of these characters are kind of garbage, but that's why like I think they all work together, is because they are all so toxic and bad for each other that it's like a train wreck and you can't look away. And she's dating Alex, but her interest is piqued by Eli, who is Alex's roommate and like very mysterious roommate. We don't really get like a ton of Eli, especially at the beginning. Like we just see like little bits and pieces, and still, even after reading this, I'm still left with the question like, who is Eli? I don't know. But anyway, so it is kind of like a love triangle-ish. Actually, I shouldn't say kind of, it is more of a love triangle, which I don't typically like. However, in this case, I did really, really like it. I really vibed with like the back and forth between Alex and Eli, because it wasn't necessarily like Zara being like, I'm gonna go be with Eli now, and then I'm gonna go back to Alex, and like bouncing back and forth. It was kind of like sneaking around, which in a book I'm fine with. I'm not gonna say too much plot-wise about this because I do just kind of think you need to go in blind, just know the setup kind of with those characters and their backstory, and just know that you're getting a toxic, fun, college, drug-induced time. It's a ride. And I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Next, I finished all of QB Tyler's backlist. I think I had 5. I had 5 books of hers that I had not read yet, and I wanted to have those finished by the time that Jess and I did a live show with her back in January. So I finished up the remaining ones that I had of hers, and oh my God, I read the Bittersweet Duet, which is Bittersweet Surrender. This is book 1, and then Bittersweet Addiction. I'll talk about it in a second, but this is book 1. Phenomenal. Besides Always Been You, my favorite thing by QB Tyler, it's taboo, it's forbidden, there's like cheating in it, which I didn't hate in this. Like I don't mind cheating in books, and I really didn't mind it in this one. It kind of works. So anyways, this one follows Charlie, and she and her husband Matt are going to marriage counseling. They've been together for 8 years, married for 5, and like not happy for 2 or 3. And she asks Matt for a divorce, and he's like, let's go to marriage counseling first to try to like see if we can work things out. And when they arrive at marriage counseling, Charlie sees Dr. Montgomery. Dr. Montgomery sees Charlie, and Charlie starts an affair with her marriage counselor. It is phenomenal. Off the charts hot. Such a fun time. I loved the sneaking around. I loved the like taboo factor of Charlie being married and having to like hide their relationship, especially then in the scenes where the 3 of them are together. Oh my God, the tension is just there. I loved everything about it. I already talked about this and like all of QB Tyler's books more in depth in my guide to QB Tyler video. So go check out that one if you want like a little more in depth on them. But yeah, I loved this. And then in part 2, Bittersweet Addiction, it's still following Charlie and Will, and their story is a continuation, which I was kind of nervous heading into this duet. I'm like, well, it's still have that like same it factor of the first one. But if anything, I loved this one more, actually, because we get a lot more of a deep dive into Will's character and some backstory on him and some struggles that he has in his life, and I really loved that addition. The first one is obviously very focused on Charlie, which like as it should be, it's like all in her POV, but then in the second book we do get Will's POV, and I really loved that dual look in at their relationship and just that deeper dive into his character. So I ended up giving this duet like overall 5 stars. Loved it. Obsessed. Will probably be on my top 10 list. Like I loved it so much. And then I read Bittersweet Love, which is technically a part of like this series kind of. It's a novella though, but it doesn't follow Will and Charlie. However, they do make like a cameo in it. But this one follows Lauren, who is Charlie's best friend. So you do see Lauren a bit in the duet. You see that or like friendship interacting, and she does date Will's brother for a bit of a time. But then in this novella, she is moved to Chicago. I think they originally live in Atlanta, and she's moved to Chicago in this one for work. And her and Will's brother break up, and she's like at a bar drinking away her sorrows one night when one of her coworkers shows up that she absolutely hates, and he proposes like a little enemies with benefits situation between the two of them. So it's like enemies with benefits, forced proximity, co-workers, because they're both journalists and they're assigned to work on an article together. So great. I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. Super hot, super fun. I did really like the dynamic between the two of them, and for it being a novella, I felt like there was enough like substance to the characters and like their backstory that then, even though obviously like a novella moves at a faster pace, I still felt connected and engaged with the two of them, which is important for me in novellas. That's what I typically don't like, is that you don't get a lot of that character background, and I felt like we got a lot of it for it being a short amount of time. So again, really enjoyed this one. Spring Semester by QB Tyler was the last one that I had to read in the Campus Tales series. So this one is the 3rd book in there, but it's a standalone, so you can read it without reading the other 2. And it's friends to lovers and surprise pregnancy trope. So this one follows Everett and Layton, and they are childhood best friends, and now they're both off at college together. However, they are dating other people, but they are hooking up with each other. So again, there is that cheating element in there. Again, I don't mind it. If you do, then just don't read it. But they're both dating other people, and then when they finally decide like it's time to be all in on each other, things arise that they have to deal with. So I did really like this one. Out of the Campus Tales ones, it is my least favorite. Just like the tropes in it in general. You Can't Beat Student Teacher for me, which is the first one, and then the second one is Age Gap, Father's Best Friend and Boss. Excuse me. We love. So, I mean, this one, like friends to lovers, it's never going to be my favorite. It's never going to be my favorite. So I like it when they hate each other. I love hate to love and I love forbidden romance, and that wasn't like really what this one was about, but it's still fun. It was still a fun college time. I think I gave this one 3.5 rounded up to 4 because it was still like good. It just wasn't like my personal favorite, but I did still enjoy it. And then Forget Me Not. Y'all, this book was insane. It was insane. This is a standalone. It was so fucking good. I should have read it earlier. I'd been putting it off for so long, and honestly, I don't know why. I knew I was gonna love it. Jess from Peace Loves Books talks about it all the time. It's like one of her favorite books, and like rightfully so. I understand why she loves it because it's amazing. Marriage in Trouble, amnesia, cheating romance. So this one follows Olivia and Bennett. They're married, but then at the beginning of the book, Olivia is called into the hospital because Bennett was just in a car accident. So she's called in because obviously she's still like a contact for him. And when she arrives to the hospital and Bennett wakes up, as they start talking, Olivia and the doctors realize that Bennett has no recollection of the past 2 years whatsoever. Like, so where Olivia is in present day, where her and Bennett are getting a divorce, and Olivia is casually seeing someone on the side, and Bennett is living with his girlfriend that he cheated on Olivia with, she's in that present. But Bennett is 2 years in the past with no recollection of the past 2 years of events, and he still thinks they're like in love, cannot fathom how him and Olivia would be in the process of getting a divorce, and how anything would have disrupted their relationship and shaken it so much that they are literally getting a divorce. They go from there. It's so good. The angst in this book is just wild. I love angst between characters. The tension is just perfection between the two of them. I love it. Trigger warnings in this one for miscarriage and fertility issues. As always with like any books, look them up, but I don't know if like that's specifically listed. I don't remember. But yeah, just amazing. I loved Olivia and Bennett's connection. Again, just hot. Like, Kiwi Tyler always delivers on spice spectacularly. And yeah, I really was just rooting for Olivia and Bennett from page 1. Next was a reread, and I was literally too late. This is the point where I'm at today, guys, where the idea of having to move 7 other books off of this one book to pull it off the shelf, it's too much work. I reread Kingdom of Ash. I have been doing a Throne of Glass reread. If you guys are new here, Throne of Glass is one of my all-time favorite series. And I was doing a reread last year, and I didn't finish Kingdom of Ash in December, so I finished it up in January here. I literally will not say anything plot-wise. It is the last book in a 8-book fantasy series. There's nothing that I can say plot-wise that would not be spoilery. I'll just say that it's fae and it's fantasy. The series definitely starts off YA. I say it turns more new adult starting around the 3rd book time. Still not as much in the 3rd book, more in the 4th, especially in the 5th. I love the hell out of all these characters. I mean, obviously Dorian, my cat, is named after Dorian Havillard, which is a character in this series. And rereading Kingdom of Ash, I still gave it a 5-star rating. And honestly, the second reread of this book, I think, was really beneficial for me, because the first time that I read this book in 2 days, and it's like 1,000 pages. So I was like in the trenches with this book. And obviously I didn't know what was going to happen. I had no spoilers for this series whatsoever. So I was so focused on being like nervous reading it and being like, oh my God, is like so-and-so going to die? What's going to happen? Like there were so many things that I was just like anxious about, and like reading to get to see those answers, that I think I found myself like skipping over things that then this time around I realized more, and just like noticing the change in characters' personalities in this one, because like especially our main character is just exhausted at this point. Like she has had to do so much. Oh, again, I don't want to get too spoilery. It is so hard to watch a character that you love so much go through so many traumatic events. I truly love this whole cast of characters so much. I could honestly do like a video essay just on the Throne of Glass series, but that's not what this is for. But yeah, I gave this 5 out of 5 stars again. It was fantastic. I think, again, a very satisfying finale. There is a trope in here that I hate in fantasy books that happens that I wasn't as angry about the first time around. I think because, again, like I was too overwhelmed by everything else, but rereading it the second time, I'm like, that is such bullshit. It is bullshit. And I think if you've read the series, you know, it's something that Sarah J. Maas has done in another one of her recent books that I'm just like, why are we doing this? But anyways, I digress. Yeah. Loved it. Next up, Carnage by Sarah Bailey. I'm so torn about this book still. I gave this one 3.5 stars, and I don't think I rounded it up. I think I might have kept it at 3. And it is like a solid 3.5 star read for me, but I think it does sit at the lower end at the 3-star. So this is a reverse harem romance following, and it's like a 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, which I love. I mean, the Devil's Night series by Penelope Douglas is like the 4 horsemen. And I like that trope. I love book series that follow like 4 guy friends, and especially this one when it's 4 of them and 1 woman. I love reverse harems. So anyways, this, hold on, let me refer to my laptop here that I wrote it down. So Scarlett, Prescott, Drake, Francis, and West. So Scarlett is our female protagonist, and then the 4 men are, so like Prescott, Pestilence, Drake, Death, etc., etc. 4 businessmen, they like run everything, super powerful, super rich, super kinky. Love it. They used to have a 5th. They used to run with a 5th when they were younger, and that was Scarlett. However, then there was an accident. Do we know what it is? No. Do we have any answers from this book? Literally no. But anyways, there's an accident. She loses her memory and she's taken away. And now that she's older, she is sent in by her family to infiltrate the 4 guys. So they're like, go and apply for this job to be one of their assistants. So they think that they're sending her in to like bust them. And the 4 dudes are aware of who she is, and they're like, we're gonna get her back, but also like use her for revenge and like ruin her. So they're both trying to ruin each other. Why? We don't know. And that was one of the things that I didn't like in this book. We got no answers. But anyways, she gets there and she starts working for them. And of course, she ends up getting with all of them, which that was hot. But the rest of this book was a hot mess, I thought, personally. I am intrigued enough to keep going. I don't feel like reading the second one right now, but I will eventually revisit this series. But here's my issue. We have no answers about Scarlett's accident. No, nothing. No reason, no known reason for her losing her memory. No reason. Why does she want revenge? I don't know. Why does her family need revenge? I don't know. Why was she taken away? I don't know. Why do the guys want revenge from her or on her? I don't know. We literally don't know anything. Any answers. So many questions, no answers, which I think is bullshit, honestly. I get that it's a 4-book series, so we have time for that, but I needed something. I needed some reason to understand these characters' motivations in this book, and we got none of it. So I'm like, in the second book, are we gonna get any answers? Because if we don't, are we gonna get any answers in the third book, or is it all gonna be in the 4th book? Like, I just wanna know why these characters are motivated to ruin one another, but we couldn't tell ya. So that's why it annoyed me. However, the spice in it was great. It was just got kind of repetitive. The same, like all of the guys' POVs were like the exact same thing. Like I couldn't tell you a single difference really between them because every single one was like, I want Scarlett, but like we're bad guys. And then the next guy's POV, we want Scarlett, but we do bad things. Fucking cool. So I don't know. Sorry guys, that got a little out of hand. All that to say, like, yes, I will read the second book eventually. But honestly, this was a letdown for me. Well, let's get into the other one that I like wasn't really sold on this month. But then after this, oh no, there's one more after this that I didn't really like love. But then we're into some of my favorites of the month. Merciless by Willow Winters. It's the first book in the Merciless series, I guess. It's Mafia Captor Captive following Arya and Carter. I was a little let down, guys. And I'm bummed because I follow Willow Winters on TikTok and I like her TikToks. And I like her from what I've seen on there. And this was my first book that I read by her and I was like kind of let down. So obviously it's darker. I love dark romance and I do like a captor-captive romance. I mean, Twisted Pride by Cora Riley, one of my all-time favorites. However, this one, it was just kind of like boring. So anyways, Carter and Arya are rival families, and Carter kidnaps Arya because he like arranges some deal with another mafia family that like if they get Arya for him, he'll like support them in a war, but he's like, I'm not really gonna do it. I just want Arya. It's not really explained. Like, I guess at some point he and Arya had seen each other and then he was like instantly transfixed. But like, I don't really think that was explained, or if it was, it didn't compute in my brain. I'm not remembering it. But anyways, here's the thing with this one that I didn't like. It all takes place then in his basement. There are like a few scenes in other places around his house, but it's all like there. And that gets boring to me. I felt trapped like as a reader, and I felt zero chemistry between Arya and Carter. Like at least Remo and Serafina, like they had a dynamic. They were like banter, tension, like, oh, they had so much chemistry. I just felt like these characters didn't have any, and I didn't really feel connected to either of them, which then you guys know for me as a character-driven reader, it falls apart for me. If I'm not connected to at least one of the characters in a book completely falls apart for me. It can have the best plot ever, but if I'm not invested in a character, for me, it's not going to work. And that's how I felt with this one. I don't think I'll continue on with the series. There is another book by Willow Winters that I want to give a shot and see if I like that one more. It's like the highest bidders collection, and I'm pretty sure it's on KU. So I'm going to try that one. Yeah, this one was just like a pass for me, which is like unfortunate because I love Mafia and I love dark romance, but this one, I truly didn't care about it. Talking about this one is going to make me happy. Twisted Hate by Anna Huang. I already have a full reading vlog up on this, so I won't talk about it too much. Oh, we don't want to hide beautiful Josh. We don't want to hide him. because we love him. New book boyfriend. I already have a full reading vlog up on this because Wildfire Marketing and Anna Huang were so kind to send me an arc. So I got to read an arc of this, and it truly, oh my God. I don't even know where to start. 5 stars. Top 10 of 2022, non-negotiable. This is going to be on there. Thick boy, too. I didn't realize how thick it was because in the arc, it didn't have, like, page numbers or anything. How many pages is this? Is this, like, 500 pages? 500 pages. Wow. 500 pages of amazingness. So this follows Josh and Jules. It is the 3rd book in the Twisted series. They are companion novels, so you don't have to read them. They are, like, all standalones. I would highly, highly, highly recommend reading Twisted Love and Twisted Games first. 2 of my favorite books of last year made it on my top 10 list. So I would definitely suggest reading those first before you get to this one. But this one does follow Josh and Jules. It's a best friend's brother, enemies with benefits, forced proximity, hate to love. Am I missing anything? I don't think so. Any trope-wise. But yeah, you definitely get a look into Josh and Jules in the beginning books and just like a little bit of their interactions. But Jules is best friends with Ava. Her book is Twisted Love. And her older brother, Josh, is like very protective of her. And him and Jules have never liked each other because he always thought that Jules was like kind of a bad influence on her. And Jules had heard Josh telling Ava not to be friends with her anymore. So she has obviously hated Josh, and they have just had a banter ever since then. The banter in this. The amount of time that the hate lasted. It was spectacular. It was so good. There was not a single thing in this book that I didn't like. And when I was reading it, never once was I checking like the tracker at the bottom to see how many hours I had left in the book. I didn't want it to end. Their chemistry, they are my favorite couple. They are my favorite couple in the series so far. And that is so hard to say because the other 2 couples in this series are both incredible as well. But there was something so special about them. I loved their backstory. I love that they both had like a mutual sadness. Like Josh is just kind of in a place in his life where he is not happy with how a lot of things have taken place over the last 2 years. And Jules has a past that she has been running from for forever that is now catching up with her. And oh my God, it's literally so good. I'm not going to say anymore. I have a whole reading vlog on it and it's spoiler free. So if you haven't read it, you can still watch it. And how hot is this cover? Because this was a gamble. I got the men covers for the first 2 books and I was like, even if the discrete cover of Twisted Hate is amazing and I prefer it over the man cover, I'm going to have to get the man. Like I'm dedicated now in this. I'm happy with my decision. Okay. Oh, we're not to the other favorite yet. We have 2 more before that one comes up. Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. So this is very different outside of my usual style. I don't read a lot of thrillers anymore. I used to before I found romance because I didn't know that romance existed for a genre. That's a talk for another time, but I used to read thrillers. And I read Sometimes I Lie by Alice Feeney a couple years ago. Loved it. One of my favorite thrillers ever. This one, it was fine. It was fine. But here's my problem with thrillers is that like I'm invested in the story as it's going. And I'm like, oh, this is exciting. This is cool. Like what's going to happen? Oh my gosh. And then when we get the answers, a lot of times it's like, okay. And it's like a letdown. Even if it like makes sense and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. It always feels like a letdown. So anyways, this one follows Amelia and Adam and they win a weekend away to a remote renovated chapel in Scotland and their marriage is in trouble. And they're going there hoping that they can really like work on their marriage and reconnect with each other. You know, they're having issues and they're hoping that a little couple's getaway will help them out. And also Adam has face blindness. I can't remember what the like full medical term is of it, but like he can't see facial features, so he can't recognize anyone. Like a lot of times when it's in his POV and he like looks at someone's face, he just sees like swirls on their face. So like he can't see like his own wife, but obviously he knows like her smell, her sound, whatever, like that kind of stuff. But he has like facial blindness, so I don't know, that plays into the story too. Anyways, I literally won't say anything else plot-wise because I don't want to spoil a single thing for a thriller, obviously. But yeah, so I liked, the reading experience was good. Like I read this all in one sitting and I did enjoy it and I was like, ooh, I want to see like what's going to happen. But then once we got the answers, I was like, okay, it's fine. I ended up giving it 3 stars. Yeah, it was fine. But again, like I'm not the biggest thriller fan and I don't think I'm ever going to be. Okay, next was another buddy read that I did with my friend Nikki over on Instagram. I'll link her Instagram down below as well. But Nikki had sent me this like grab of like what this book was about, and I was like, oh my god, because it just released this past month, and I was like, that sounds amazing, I'm gonna add that to my Goodreads TBR. And then she was like, me too. And then we're like, let's buddy read it. So we did. The Words by Ashley Jade. This was my first Ashley Jade book, and it will not be my last. I want to read something else from her ASAP. I think I'm gonna read The Devil. I'm pretty sure that's the one that I had picked out next. Anyways, this was a 5 out of 5 star read for me as well. However, like, was it perfect? Where like, I truly loved each and everything about this book. The words, there were a couple of things that I was like a little nitpicky about, but my overall enjoyment was so high that I still ended up giving it a 5. But anyways, where are all the tropes? Rock star, forced proximity, childhood friends to enemies to lovers, and second chance. I'm pretty sure that's it. This one follows Lennon and Phoenix. So at the beginning of the book, it is when they're back in high school and they first meet. Phoenix is about to be held back from graduating because he's going to fail his English class. So their English teacher sets up Lennon to be his tutor. So they start getting together, they start bonding, they start vibing. Lennon is like an outcast, which I'm like, is she really just an outcast because she's fat? That like was what I didn't really like at the beginning, that I'm like, why does Lennon not have a single friend? Is it really only because she's a size 18? Like, if that's the case, that's annoying. And she's so fat shamed, which like is hard to read. That can come with the territory, because obviously like I am not like a skinny bitch. I mean, this is like a baggy shirt, but it's like, I'm 6 feet tall. I am considered what, like mid or plus size. Like I get it. But like sometimes it got a little hard to read at times. And I'm like, is that really the only reason that she doesn't have friends? But anyways, so they start vibing. They become friends. They're tutoring together, whatever. And they like bond over their love for music. And they really like develop this great friendship, kind of broaching into relationship territory. However, there is a betrayal. Phoenix betrays Lennox, and they completely like cut off contact and start going their separate ways. And then years down the road, now in the future where the rest of the book takes place, Phoenix has made it in the music industry. He's like a huge rock star touring with his band, but he is in a downward spiral ever since a certain incident, which I won't spoil, but he is like in a downward spiral. And the label, his manager, like everyone is like, we need to do something about this. And he keeps on messing with all of his sober companions. So like, we need a woman that like hates him and that will like not give in. And they find Lennon and give her an offer that she can't refuse because she does need money. So she ends up joining them on tour to become Phoenix's sober companion, but she hates him and she has not forgotten what he did to her. It's so good. It's a 700-page book, which at first I was like, are you for real? I hate all of these super, super long romance books lately. I'm like, why is every book like 600-700 pages? It's like, it gets to be overwhelming, but this never once did it feel like a 700-page book. It flew by. Like, it was just easy to read, easy to get into a rhythm to. The toxicity between the two of these characters was just what I needed, honestly. I love a toxic dynamic, and they were super toxic. And I did like to, in the jump forward, I was worried that because there was so much emphasis on Lennon's weight in high school, on her being like, no one likes me because I'm fat, I was worried that then in the time jump, I'm like, she's all of a sudden a size 0 and is like, my life is perfect, I'm gonna be pissed. But no, she did lose a little bit of weight, but she's still definitely like curvy, more like mid plus size, which I did really like. And I liked that then it wasn't like magically all of my problems are gone, because like I'm down a few sizes. So if that's something that you're worried about when I said that like she's plus size and like there's a lot of focus on her weight in the beginning, that does tend to go away. So that was like my one big nitpick in the book, is that me just like as a plus size person, I just prefer that in a book with a plus size character that it isn't like all of her problems are related to her being plus size. So I did like that went away more in the time jump. But anyways, super toxic, great writing. I really loved Ashley Jade's storytelling in this. And and I'm just a sucker for a damaged bad boy. And Phoenix has some issues, but I love that. So yeah, I highly, highly recommend this one. I did really love it. And yeah, like I said, I gave it 5 stars. Now it's time. It is time for us to discuss Manicold. Oh my god, you can see my tattoo peeking out. Let's put that away. Manicold by, I think, Senlin Yu. I think I'm saying that correctly. When I finished this on Saturday, I didn't move from the couch for like a solid 2 hours. Fuck. It was so good. This was not the first fan fiction I've read. This was the second fan fiction I've ever read, but the first Draco Hermione fan fiction. So let me get this out there. I never have read the Harry Potter books. I never really got that into the movies. I have seen them all, but only because we covered them on my podcast, Popcorn Chats. That was the only reason that I've watched like all of them. The fourth one was like one of the only ones that I had ever seen, and I liked it. But again, I never cared enough to go back. So why did I start this? I blame Amanda, honestly. Well, no, I don't blame her. I thank her. But she had been posting about how much she loved it, and I had seen other people talking about it before, and I was like, you know what, maybe I'll give it a shot. And she sent me like how to download it on my Kindle, and I was like, well, this is great because I don't like reading on my phone. So I was like, there's really no excuse for me not to read it. So I did. Y'all, I'm changed. I'm a changed person after reading this. So this is Harry Potter meets Handmaid's Tale. So don't come at me for all of the details with the Harry Potter. If I mess anything up like with Harry Potter lore, don't come at me. I don't know it that well. This is like the most that I know about it. This, I think, would take place after the 5th movie, maybe. So Harry Potter is dead and the Order is dead. They've lost the war against Voldemort. And now for him to repopulate the earth and like with population efforts with the wizarding world, he creates a breeding program pretty much. Voldemort creates a program. Hermione is a prisoner from the war who has been kept in a room, locked away, can't talk, no magic for like over a year. And she is the last member of the Order, and her brain has locked away some of her past memories. So they are convinced, Voldemort and his little groupies are convinced that she is hiding where the other surviving members of the Order might be. So they're like, we need to unlock those memories. How can we do that? They can't get it through traditional methods, but you know what? Let's give her to the High Reeve, aka Draco, for him to have her to produce an heir because his wife can't have kids, very Handmaid's Tale. And she is given to him because they think that her becoming pregnant might unlock those memories. So yeah, did I sound dumb? Yes. Yes, indeed. I totally botched that. You can look up the synopsis on Goodreads. But long story short, Hermione is given to Draco to have his heir. And she doesn't remember anything about the war except all of the deaths, all of the atrocities. But she doesn't remember a single thing in the war besides all of everyone dying. But like any involvement that she ever had, she doesn't even know what she used to do. Like nothing. It is dark. It is long. Be prepared. Check triggers. It is a rough time. It is a rough time going through here. Oh boy, do these two go through it. I want to say so much more, but it would obviously spoil things. But if you've read it and you would like to discuss it with me, DM me because I would love to chat. I will chat to anyone about this. I have so many feelings. The last sentence of this book has utterly destroyed me. It's destroyed me in a very similar way to how I feel when I read Forbidden by Tabitha Suzuma. I was so like, there is no justice. And I feel that way with this book. It's so good. I'm literally gonna see how I can like bind a physical copy myself and see if I can like literally make a physical copy because I need it in my life and I already want to reread it. It was incredible. This I gave 5 stars, obviously, and this will be tied with Twisted Hate for my favorite book of the month, because they were both just incredible. But this has truly rocked my world. It has done it. It has done it. And if you're interested, and even if you're like not a Harry Potter fan, I would definitely give it a shot because like I said, I don't really care about Harry Potter, but I loved this. And I just want to go daydream about it. But we have one more to get through. So after Manicold, that thick boy, I was like, I just need something quick. I just need something quick, easy, light. And then Tori from Novel Life posted an age gap recommendation video and she talked about this. And I was like, Tori, thank you. This is what I needed right now. So Thin Ice by Cassie Mint. Never heard of it, never heard of this author before. Was a vibe though. I'm pretty sure I gave it 3.5 stars. So this one follows Logan and Mila and it's an age gap, coach athlete, sports, novella, romance. I'm always just chasing the off balance high, to be honest, trying to find a coach athlete book that even makes me feel a fraction of what the Off Balance series made me feel, which was just, Mila is a pairs figure skater. Her partner is like Chris or whatever. Chris is fine, whatever. He's not really the point of this. But she's into her coach. And they are mutual pining. They both are into each other, but they know that it's off limits. There's not much else to say about this. It's super short. I read it literally in one sitting. It was fine. The spice was good in it. I definitely enjoyed it, but it's probably not going to be anything super memorable for me, but it really did serve its purpose of being like a good palate cleanser after manicold, and has me ready to jump into some thick boys for February. Okay, that was everything, correct? That was everything, all 14 books that I read this month. Like I said, it was a great January reading month. Even though I was very critical of Carnage by Sarah Bailey. Like, I did still enjoy it. It's more like I was a little frustrated with it overall, but I did like enjoy everything. So it was a great way to start off January, and a lot of thick books this month, and a lot of thick books already looking into February, which I think I'm gonna need again some like shorter ones, because yeah, I need to sometimes feel accomplished. So anyways, that's it for today. I will have my February TBR video out later this week. Normally I try to film these on the same day. I am done for the day. So that might be a little bit later this week. But anyways, that's it for today. And I will see ya when I see ya.